and interesting. And I'm going to go ahead and say this. One of those conversations started because Audrey had said that her phone she puts in her back pocket. And she keeps taking pictures. She's,
Dialing my
instead
photo
of butt
app.
dialing somebody, she's butt photographying. And I was making fun of that, of course. Women put their phone in their back pocket, and that's not really the right thing to do or whatever. And then, bam,
What did you send me? What
bam,
did
I
you
go on
send
Facebook, and
me?
there's a Washington Post article talking about people walking around with their flashlights on, sticking out of their back pocket, and that it is a national phenomenon that people are butt swiping, and
I
they're
told you I
actually
wasn't
turning
the
their
only one
camera on
having
or
fun
leaving
out
their
there.
camera on.
Hey Siri, what does JMac fix?
JMac fixes everything.
Coming to you from the Owl's Nest Studios in Portland, Oregon, it's JMac Fixes Everything, where we answer your tech questions and discuss all things Apple. For valuable, actionable, real-world Apple advice that you can count on, look no further than JMac Fixes Everything. Now here's your hosts, Jamie Pollock and Audrey Isbell.
This episode of JMac Fixes Everything is brought to you by Royalwise.com and the Royalwise Owls platform. That's my very own on-demand web-based learning solution where I have 40 plus hours of on-demand video training to help you master all of your Apple devices. We hope you enjoy this episode of JMac Fixes Everything. So hey everybody, welcome. My name is Jamie. My company is Royalwise. You can always find us online at royalwise.com. This is another fun episode of JMac Fixes Everything. So I am supposedly the JMac portion of that. My name is Jamie. And of course with me I have Audrey Isbell.
Hey, everybody.
So how is Audrey this week? So just so you know, we've been doing a series called Making the Switch from Android to Apple. And Audrey not long ago moved from an Android phone to an iPhone, and we have spent 8 conversations getting together and peeling the onion, taking apart what is her experience and how's she doing as far as productivity goes. And we've had a fun time also talking about the emotional side of how do you feel about it. I know that last week you had said that just having these conversations alone have really put you back in the student mindset. You're really more of a lifelong learning approach in your own head just because you've got this opportunity to ask questions or get answers, I guess.
Yeah, and learning is a mindset, right? Because when we get into it, sometimes we're just moving so fast throughout our day that we're not remembering to take the time to ask for help.
Yep.
Or, admit that we need help. That's a big one.
But I mean, I think also there's just a quid pro quo of I do the things I need to do to get through my day. I need to answer the phone. I need to send a text message.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to know how to use Siri to set a reminder. But if I did, it would improve my daily life. But it's, it's this definition of kind of like, what do I really need? And do I have time to integrate new concept?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well,
and I think there's a difference too, like when you're in it from when you're just observing it, right? So, years and years and years of being an Android user, and I was seeing Apple people ask Siri everything, right? Like, hey Siri this, hey Siri that, and to the point of, and now my Siri is going off. To the
Don't worry,
point
the HomePod
of,
in the studio is going to answer the question in a minute. Don't worry about it. Luckily, I got these on, so that if I said it, the HomePod would be like, "Yeah, how can I help you?"
We like banned words for the series, right?
You just say H Siri,
Yeah, right.
like you said, "What the f?" Or, oh,
But like the funny thing about it is like I would hear this, coming from people. They were asking Siri everything. Right. And to the point of my, shall I admit, annoyance, and years of being a virtual assistant, I would joke about how Siri is not the best virtual assistant on the planet,
No soup for you. No soup for you.
And so it's just kind of funny to be now on the inside of this. And I am asking Siri a ton of questions. And as I'm driving, using it on my watch to, define, I don't know, whatever it is, a term, if you're
Getting
going
a
to go
definition is a
dictionary with
great,
it.
simple, yeah.
Or, just tell you some of the most basic things like, what's the weather going to be today and all that kind of stuff. So,
Yep. Who are the Trailblazers going to beat tonight?
mm,
So they can stay undefeated 5-0, right? Exactly.
So, it's been kind of a little bit eye-opening to kind of have been on the side of, a little judgy. Yeah, I'm not gonna say I wasn't.
Well, do you feel like it's like the dark side and the light side? Is this like an epic battle between Luke and
Maybe
Darth
I had
Vader?
felt like that at one point.
And sometimes you feel like you're a stormtrooper going,
Uh-huh.
they
Yep.
think they're so good.
Yeah. But you get into it and you realize there's a whole nother side to this coin. And I understand its popularity now. I'm feeling so much better about the technology, about my use of the technology. And as you said, this has allowed me to be able to do more, right? Like I have to answer the phone, I have to prepare for bedtime, all of the things. But this technology and your support of me learning this technology has made it so much easier to live my life.
And anybody out there else that's listening or watching on YouTube or however you're taking in this content, you can be an Audrey too. You can be just like Audrey and get your questions answered and take all the basics classes, go to the advanced classes, get some classes under your belt. But also go to our new website, jmacfixeseverything.com, and ask JMac. Turn in your questions. So feel free to type a question, use your voice recorder and voice record a question. Go grab your camera, your selfie camera, and that's the best. We'd love to have you have a video question here in the studio where I will answer your specific questions. So get involved with JMac Fixes Everything and submit some questions. We'll expand this. So we'll quit picking on poor Audrey and excuse me, supporting only Audrey in her epic journey of discovery and expand it out to more people. Well, I just want to real quick recap last episode, a couple of the concepts that we talked about. Of course, we talked about shortcuts, which was interesting, how to automate. It was the S episode, it seemed like, because we also talked about screen time and how to use screen time to not only track what you're doing, but monitor your kids and how to restrict your social media habit or your kids' social media habit. And then the last thing we talked about was sunshine, how to deal with the phone in extreme weather, which was also kind of fun. And interesting. And I'm going to go ahead and say this. One of those conversations started because Audrey had said that her phone she puts in her back pocket and she keeps taking pictures. She's
dialing my
instead
photo
of
app.
butt dialing somebody, she's butt photographying. And I was making fun of that, of course. Women put their phone in their back pocket, and that's not really the right thing to do or whatever. And then, bam.
What did you send me?
Bam! I go on Facebook and there's a Washington Post article talking about people walking around with their flashlights on, sticking out of their back pocket, and that it is a national phenomenon that people are butt swiping, and they're actually turning their camera on or leaving their camera on. Did you read the article or did you just glance at it like I did?
I just glanced at it, yeah. But I mean, it gave me the giggles like big time because I just knew that I was not the only one.
You felt validated, right?
I felt validated.
You feel validated when everybody's doing it, whether it's good or bad. It's happening.
How do you feel about your tech? Well, super good now.
Super good.
I'm not the only one that butt dials.
Validated, qualified, all the things.
All the things.
All the things. But it's not dialing, it's swiping. It's butt swiping. So.
Yeah, butt swiping.
Wait, that didn't sound as good this week as it did last week.
I don't know. I think it sounds pretty good to me. Yeah.
So, back to it. We got a lot of the S's out of the way. Mm-hmm. Do you have any burning topics this week? What are you dealing with and what's going on with the iPhone watch combo? Or
I'll just tell you kind of my most recent experience because we had talked about all of my devices are making noise at this point. we had talked about photos.
Yeah.
And we knew that we were going to circle back on photos at some point. And maybe that conversation will be today, maybe it won't. But I finally plugged in my phone to my computer.
Okay.
Right. And so, of course, I'm used to the Android situation of plug into the computer and I know what that looks like and all those kinds of things. I have to say, it wasn't that different. And I was kind of surprised.
I warned you
that,
right? I said it's you plug
Yep.
in any digital camera, whether it's a phone or digital camera, and whether it's Apple, Windows, or whatever, it's going to behave the same way. Hey, wait, there's pictures on this remote device. Well, how do you want me to handle it? And it's the same process.
Yep. And even after sort of a lot of conversation actually about apples to oranges, right? That had me a little bit in fear mode again of like, oh, okay, is it going to, react the same? Is it going to do the same things? And so far so good.
Yay.
Right? Except that, and maybe this will be like conversation way down the line. We've touched on it. I started to panic a little bit about, do I have all the proper backups?
Oh, right. Back to that circular conversation.
Conversation, because I'm seeing now, yes, I can access my photos. They look a little bit weird, right? Like they're in these folders that I'm not used to, and I'm going to need to copy them and put them, into, I suppose, which has been my backup this whole time. But now I'm questioning the backups that I've been taking. Right. And you had said, where's your master copy? Always know where your master copy is. And I am so grateful to you for saying that, because it wasn't really registering in my mind about that. Right. I just knew that I was keeping a copy, but I wasn't really considering it a master copy. And last week I logged into iCloud and saw them there and was a little bit startled because I didn't want them in the cloud yet, but it's been syncing to the cloud.
Well, we did talk about that. That was
talk about it, but
part of our conversation.
Talk about the emotions involved, right? Like this is why you've been asking me week after week, how you feeling this week about your technology?
Yeah.
Because
photos is overwhelming. I'll tell you, it's two things. One, it's the number one reason people have and use iPhones. It's the number one digital camera on the planet. And everybody does photos and videos with it, right? I mean, all these TikTokers and Facebook Reel people, what they're using their iPhone to record hundreds of videos and then distilling them down into 30-second publishables, I mean.
Can you imagine if our photos and videos went into some kind of weird time capsule for the future people and just what they must think? TikTok is going into a time capsule, people.
The guys on Big Bang push that out into their little digital time capsule.
What are they going to think about our generations?
Well, let's make sure that we just hit the highlights. Again, I don't want to go over the whole conversation again, but definitely, your phone, if it's connected to iCloud and you in the iCloud settings have iCloud Photo Library turned on, there is a copy in the cloud and a copy on your phone.
And if you delete it on one, you're deleting it on the other?
Well, and the distinction we were first making was, is it optimized or not on the phone? Because the cloud version is the full resolution version of the photos and videos. And the phone can either have full res or be optimized. And if it's optimized, that means when the phone needs to, it will shrink down the size of photos to thumbnails and videos to thumbnails. They'll still look good on the phone screen, but they won't be the full file size. And if you need to, you can recover those out of the cloud. I also said that if for you, because you're going to import straight from the phone to your computer, maybe you leave full resolution on the phone and don't optimize on the phone unless you start running out of hard drive space. And then the other tidbit that, I don't know if this is what escaped, but this is why you had a little bit of a, well, wait a minute, what's going on here? Is when you pulled off the phone into your PC, did you delete off the phone at that time, or did you leave them on the phone and import them? Did you import them into the Windows area and then leave them?
Copy paste.
What?
Because that's what I used to do, right? Like, and this might be tedious too, and maybe you have a workaround for this as well. I always end up forgetting to kind of manage the photos from the computer side of it, right? So what I mean by that is I've copy and pasted my photos into a safe folder. So they're my masters. Those are going to go into the backup system, and hopefully you'll teach me about backups, deeper, teachings about backups later. but then you've still got what you've copied from, like the stuff that's connected to your phone. And managing those photos on the computer screen, in my estimation, tends to be easier, right, than to have been
Well, let me ask
unplugged
you a
from
quick
the
question
phone.
though.
And now you're deleting?
You just used the phrase the photos on my computer that are connected to the photos on my phone.
Right, but I guess that's backwards. It's like
Well,
the photos on my
that's
phone
why
connected to the
again
computer.
I want to make sure that you're using the words in a way that match the reality, because if you don't say it the
Yeah,
right way, I don't feel like you understand the reality of it. So
thank you.
let's peel that back a little bit and make sure that we understand really what the situation is. Once you plug your phone into your PC and your PC says, "Do you want me to pull these photos in?" and you say yes, it has imported them as a copy and they are not connected to your phone anymore.
Oh, I don't know if that's the case. Is this an apples to oranges situation?
If
Because
you manually plugged your phone into your computer
I did.
and manually allowed the Windows Media area to import the pictures off of the phone,
I did not.
you did
That
not
was not an option.
what did you do then? You then could you see the phone library in the Windows Explorer and you copied and pasted from there?
This is the question of the week, folks. What did you do?
What did you do?
Good one, Jamie.
Well, just I play detective quite a bit. When somebody says there's something wrong, like there's a couple things about my job as a support person. There's one, I can't trust anybody. Like you can tell me what you think happened, but that doesn't mean that's what really happened. So I end up playing detective work and saying, well, okay, let's make sure we have the terminology correct, and then can I recreate it myself to prove or disprove? There's a few things going on with that, but I don't know what you did. People are like, why did it do that? I was like, I don't know.
So you had said Windows Media, right? And I don't have that turned on for a lot of reasons.
So you're not using the Windows built-in media feature that says,
nope.
I'll manage your photo library for you.
No, and there's a lot of reasons why I don't use that. So I actually accessed my photos that are on my phone through the Windows Explorer drive, right? So like you can go into Windows Explorer and see your C drive, if you have an E drive, a G drive, your backup drives, whatever. I'm currently connected to the phone and I'm seeing what's on the phone, the files that exist there.
You're on your iPhone.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to admit, I'm going to say this, I'm not a Windows person, and I don't use Windows, right?
Mm-hmm.
I do support people. If an Apple device touches Windows, I normally try to delve in and figure out what's going on, but I don't know Windows like the back of my hand, so I can't just say, oh, that's this is that.
Right.
So I don't necessarily know that part of the process. So...
It's as simple as really just kind of connecting an external drive. That's how it's treating the phone right now. Like
the
an
iPhone, because
external
I
drive.
did not expect that, because even in the Apple world right now, when we connect the iPhone to an Apple computer, the Finder, which is the same thing as the Windows Explorer, will connect to it. We have to say, trust this computer on the phone, possibly see a 4-digit code to confirm. And then we do see the iPhone in the left column of the Finder, which would be the same thing as the Windows Explorer, almost like it's as a device or a location. But we don't just see it as a file structure at that point. We still see like your photos and your apps and your other things, and
wow, really?
And it doesn't look like a file structure.
Oh yeah, this is definitely a file structure.
Do you want to, or are you willing to share your screen and let us see?
I can do that.
I'll just eyeball it real quick and we will just make a determination on whether I need, and I'm going to say this, I'll say this just to the audience or the crowd. Yeah, I am an Apple professional. I've been an Apple professional for coming on 20 years. I don't know everything. I don't think anybody can know everything when it comes to technology. And if you work with me or if you're a student of mine in a class, you quite often hear me say, I need to do some research or I better look that up. Because even as an expert, they change it. All the new operating systems came out and they changed a bunch of stuff. And, anybody could be like, system preferences doesn't look like it looked yesterday. Oh, wait, I upgraded them Ventura. So sometimes it just, you gotta be patient. Step back and do some research, find out what's what, so that, again, we make good decisions based on good information. I just did something magical that should allow you to.
There we go. Okay, so you should be seeing that. Let me just show you my desktop first if I can. Oh no, you can't see my questions. That's not a good idea.
No. You don't want us to see that.
But you can see.
Now we can see it. Yes. Yes.
Oh yeah, that's good stuff.
And we
Okay.
will verbally tell anybody that's on the podcast what we're seeing. So don't worry that you can't see the screen. I will talk. So we're seeing a Windows Explorer. I see this left column. Show me where your phone is. Where's your phone in this?
The Apple iPhone right here.
It says that. Okay,
Devices.
double click on that guy and let's see what it shows us at that point.
Internal storage. And then if I dig deeper,
This folder is empty.
Wait, it's probably actually using this one, right? I may not want to share this.
Oh, sure you do. Come on, go ahead and just. It's not responding
launching
now.
Something. Oh, it's taking its time. Okay, hold on just a sec. I'm gonna stop share. Well, that was, first of all, the iPhone lands under devices and drives.
Okay, that's what we expect.
That's
But
what
again, I don't expect it to show you a file structure because, like, you don't really have like a documents or a desktop folder unless they're in iCloud Drive. I wouldn't expect it to automatically access iCloud Drive that way. That is cool that there's an iCloud Photos area, and maybe that's what's new is that Windows does recognize that there's an iCloud photo library and just giving you access to that. So it sounds like what you did was then copied and pasted out of there.
No.
No.
Well, I was trying to get back to where I was. This is super weird, right? Because I absolutely went into what I believe is my phone drive, if you want to view, if you want to think
At this
about
point,
it
it's an external hard drive connected to a computer. Yes, that's fine.
Yeah, okay. Then I'm not going crazy. And from there was able to access basically my my photo files. It's kind of bizarre that it's not showing up that way now.
Everybody loves to watch an expert struggle. So the fact that we're recording and it's not working, everybody can celebrate that sometimes it happens to everybody, right? It's not just you sitting in your office struggling with processing a spinning beach ball or a processing spiral or whatever. Well, so let's step back from that. Let's quit fighting that.
Okay.
And let's just get back to concept, and we'll just kind of talk through it conceptually a little bit, and then we'll see if we need to shelve this and bring it back with more information.
Okay.
So I don't know. I don't believe that whatever is happening there in the Windows Explorer with the iCloud photo folder looking thing, if you have access to your photos in there and you drag and drop out of there or copy and paste out of there, I don't think that creates a link between the photo on your hard drive and the photo that's still on the phone.
I think I agree with that. Yeah, I think copy paste, you're just grabbing files, right?
Well, copy is copy. I'm making a copy. I'm pasting it someplace else.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And even if you were to drag from that iCloud photo folder onto your hard drive somewhere, with a drag and drop, the default is if you're dragging from your hard drive to your hard drive, it will move it. If you're dragging from an external hard drive to your drive or from your drive to an external drive, it will copy it. Right? You cannot move from your hard drive to an external hard drive by dragging and dropping without holding a special modifier key.
Right.
All computers say if you're going to move it off of me, my hard drive, to some other hard drive, you're going to copy it, not move it, because I'm not letting go of my original copy.
Hey, I just figured it out, though.
Okay.
My phone disconnected the allow, right? Allow my PC to access what's on
Oh, you
my
had to
phone.
push the trust this computer thing on
I
the phone
had to
screen?
push the button again for
Yep.
like a second time or whatever. So if I share...
Well, you have to push a button every time you connect the device.
So that must have been what I was hearing before. It was disconnecting and connecting back.
Maybe, yeah.
So this actually is what I'm talking about, where you can see the path here.
So you're on the iPhone.
On the iPhone into the internal storage, and then I've got these DCIM.
That's a folder that you would see just like if you were on a digital camera. That's a
Right.
typical digital camera folder structure.
Right.
So you're not in the iCloud folder area. You went here to get these photos.
Correct.
Okay, and then you either copied and pasted or dragged and dropped, or you did whatever you did.
Yeah. Copy paste, because I didn't want to remove them off of the phone.
Okay, so go ahead and
Which I think is what would happen.
on-screen share,
Okay.
unless you want to show us your photos, which we're happy to look at.
No.
Another thing I'm going to warn you about, and again, I don't know the Windows process that much, is that the minute you're in internal storage in the DCIM folder and mucking around in there, you are not necessarily allowing the iCloud photo library, which is a database structure with an index. And if you were to go to those folders and just say delete these photos, I don't know that the iCloud photo library database index would know that they were gone.
Okay, I'm just processing what you just said.
You are using the systems in a non-standard form because you are smarter than the average bear.
Oh, you're so sweet.
Well, but also you're going to
Okay.
probably get yourself in big trouble because you are
Yep.
in the internals of a file structure
Yep.
that
You
on
see
one
why I
end...
live in this, constant state of happy or in fear?
Well, this is a point where fear is good for you to go, I don't know what's happening right now. I better stop and ask somebody is good.
What is that saying? I know just enough to be dangerous.
I tell people all the time, I've given you I said that at the end of our last photo conversation. I've given you just enough information to be dangerous, and you might want to wait until we talk again before you move forward. So in the Apple world, there is something called a package. This is not common knowledge, and this is not end-user stuff. This is getting a little bit more advanced. But I think you need to understand the concept so that you can kind of know how to not break some things. Mm-hmm. Okay? When you're on an Apple computer, and not the phone, not mobile, but desktop, you will see like a .app file, which is an application. But if you were to control-click or right-click in the Windows world, control-click in the Apple world, and say show package contents, it would open up and show you the inner workings of that application, meaning subfolders and DLL files and different things that they don't want you to see and they don't want you to mess with. So they hide it inside of this concept called a package. And so when you look at it in the Finder, the Windows Explorer, it looks like a single file, but it's not. And you can double-click on it and it can open. So when we're in the Apple world, we go to the Pictures folder and we find the iCloud photo library, and it just looks like a single file. But if we were to right-click, control-click, and say Show Package Contents, it would explode into this inner database structure where there are indexes and a master or originals folder and then an edited folder, right? A modified folder.
Okay.
Apple Photos, whether it's on the phone or the computer, if you edit a photo in the iCloud photo library or in Photos, as we call it, it is what's called non-destructive editing. Meaning if I open any picture on my phone or my computer and I say edit and I crop it or change it or filter it, the original goes into the originals folder and a copy of it goes into the modified folder and all the changes are applied to this copy that's in modified. And I can always say revert to original and go right back to the original photo as it was taken. I don't have to make a copy and then start editing because it's non-destructive editing, meaning I can always get back to my original.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I'm guessing this came about due to photo filters and all the things that get applied now, right? Especially in the social media world of it.
This has always been the way. Even in iPhoto, back before photos existed, before TikTok existed, this is how Apple always did it.
Wow. Okay.
Right. But the
Android
reason I
did
bring
not
this
do
up
it that
is,
way
again,
that I'm aware of.
well, there's two base understandings that I want you to take out of this. I don't need you to understand this whole database structure, blah, blah, blah. How does photos work? That's not what's important here. What's important is that Apple uses this idea of packages to hide the contents of things like database structures.
Okay.
But the Photos library, the Photos app, can open up a iCloud photo library. But that library is a database with an index file and different kinds of folders so that it can keep originals separated from modified and all of this different stuff. So imagine you now come in on a Windows machine and start digging down into this file structure and deleting things and doing weird things, and the database app or index doesn't necessarily get edited or keep up with itself. If you did it inside of Photos, then Photos knows, oh, this is being deleted. I'm going to delete the picture and take the index reference away, right?
Yeah.
I've edited this photo in Photos, and so that's the one I'm going to show you when you come into Photos, because I know that I don't want to show you the original. I want to show you the modified one. You go in through the file structure. I don't know if you're looking at original or modified, edited or not edited. You know, there's a lot of inherent questions to be answered if you're going to skirt the system the way it's meant to be used.
Okay.
Now, you're in Windows and
Yep.
you see your phone
Mhm.
and then it says external storage and you're like, gold, I found it.
Yep.
And then you go in there and you find, the minute you see a folder called DMIC, you should know that's not a place where end users are supposed to be messing around. Now, if you're an old digital photography person and you've used, SD cards off of digital cameras, you're kind of used to it, right? That's the way the camera structures photos. That's the way a digital camera structures photos. No big deal. And so I could see where it's just kind of like, oh, this is second nature. I'm just going to process it the way I would have done it on a digital camera.
Yeah, that was the familiarity piece for me
But
because
the fact that there was an iCloud photo reference next to it, if you were to go into that and then look at the photos, you probably would have different things like your albums, right? Or some smart albums like favorites, right? A folder called videos that just has videos in it, or those sorts of structures. And if you were to go into the iCloud Photos area and not the external storage area, then they might actually have some mechanism that keeps the indexes intact for you. I don't know. So that part we're going to do some more research on, okay? But I think what I'm definitely going to say, and what I think you agreed with, is copying and pasting from those folders makes a copy and does not link anything. So the conversation started with you saying the photos that are connected to the photos on my phone.
Yeah.
They're not connected. They are a copy of.
Right.
And you, at this point, in a sense, have made your life twice as difficult because you now have multiple copies in multiple places on multiple platforms in multiple folders.
But J-Mac, I'm trying to keep a master.
And then no, but again, I warned you. This is the complex topic. This is the one that takes a lot of peeling, and a little bit of knowledge can get you in some trouble because there's a lot to know. Let me see. How do I say this kindly? I'm going to make sure that I keep my moderator voice intact. One of the things we ended up talking about last time is you don't have an easy path here. There's no built-in function for some of this stuff unless you roll the dice with the iCloud desktop for Windows function feature, whatever that piece of software is, and let it manage certain things for you. But you've even already said to me, I don't use the Windows Media Manager. That is off for a couple of other reasons. Therefore, I copy and paste and I manually manage my own folders. I manually manage my photos. I put the timestamps on the folders. I do the organizing. I decide where I want them or where I want to put them, which is also non-standard even in the Windows world. So I've been trying to define the layers and what process you can use. And you didn't let me know that in the beginning. We hadn't peeled the onion to get to that part. Where like, even for me, if I were to do some research and come back with what I do know on the Apple side as an expert and what I've learned about the Windows side and the way the Windows system uses, you're not using the Windows system the way it's supposed to be used either.
No, because it's not all great. I mean, I love Windows, but
Yeah.
like sometimes you have to take the thing and force it to your will.
That one ring to rule them all. Sauron, what have you done?
If it doesn't play the way you want it to, you break the system, right?
And again, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying that inherently there's more work for you. One thing, there's more work. Two, you can't use the automated processes the way they were built, which they were built to make your life. Three, they were built to make your life easy. You remember the first conversation, I spent 20 minutes saying, this is how it works when you're going apples to apples. Everything's Apple, you're in the Apple universe, and it still takes me 20 minutes to explain the iCloud photo library and how things sync and how to manage it. There's plenty to know just about that. So when you say, I went to iCloud.com and I saw all my photos were still there, and I was kind of like, wait a minute, right? But you didn't delete them from the phone, therefore you didn't delete them out of the cloud either.
No, but I think it was more so about just, I didn't feel entirely prepared to just see all of my photos in the cloud big screen, right? Like, I guess, like, because of the old system that I've been using, where you connect the phone to your PC and you move the photos and you kind of manage the backup copy or whatever. I hadn't been using backup sync to a cloud.
You haven't been
service.
using cloud storage.
Right.
Which
And
is a
so,
syncing. Like you go to a cloud, most of the time
yeah.
it's syncing, right? Not
Yeah.
backup. Now we did the big definition. I'm going to bring it up again for even the listeners, but just for you. Backup means I can delete it from here and it doesn't delete it from the backup. Where with cloud, I delete it from here, the deletion syncs to the cloud.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so we're very clear that a cloud copy is vulnerable because if I delete it, it's gone from everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Where a backup copy, that shouldn't be the case.
Right. Well, and I've, certainly in my history of things, I'm used to syncing files and things like that. But just to see the synced photos was a little bit of a new experience for me, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
now I'm seeing photos that I didn't necessarily want in the cloud, but the sync was already on.
Well, if they're on your phone, they're in the cloud.
Right.
I mean,
Exactly.
I'll tell you that that is what you want ultimately, because if you were to lose your phone, drop it into the river, buy a new phone, log in with your Apple ID, everything comes back. If you didn't have it there, and if you hadn't manually plugged your phone in for 2 weeks, everything from that 2 weeks would be a goner.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you do want them in the cloud.
Right. So yeah. So it was definitely an experience. I'll give
Yeah.
it that.
So let me just ask the question again. This is where we ended on the last photos conversation, and I'm not going to belabor the point, but I said, I know plenty of Windows people who just go ahead and buy an Apple laptop specifically to hold their photo library.
Oh my, where is this headed?
We already had this conversation once, and I'll tell you, you don't see a prouder JMac until last week when you go, I showed my husband some of that Find My stuff, and he was like, what? So don't think you're not gaining superpowers. It's not like you're not weaning some superpowers into your daily life or into your family life by what you're learning, by the knowledge of the ring.
Mm-hmm. For sure I am. For sure.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And when I first said this, I remember very clearly you said, my husband's been wanting an Apple laptop for a long time. Don't say that. You're going to give him reason to think he might get one. All right? Like, stop it, Jamie. Stop it. But it throws some money at this, and all of these layers of complication dissolve, and you don't work so hard.
Mm-hmm.
Because even the conversation we've had just today and the new information I've pried out of you about how you use the Windows system, that even what I was already thinking to recommend you do won't work because of the way you manage your photos in the Windows environment. It blows away all the ideas that would have been relatively easy to
force
implement.
it, huh? I can't just
No.
force the system.
Well, but really what the question came down to, and let's just refresh this because it's been a month or so since we talked about it. You've got a couple of concepts down solid, which is I need a master copy on a hard drive in my home. I need backups and syncs, and I need different copies in different places. And I need to kind of manage this process so that I know, do I have a master copy? Is everything in one place? Stuff like that. But the second part of that, the second half of it to absorb or process of how are we going to solve this? How are we going to get to a working system? Is how are you going to keep the ones that you love on your phone favorited and quickly accessible
on the phone
with the cream rising to the top?
Yep.
Whether you leave all the other photos on the phone or you delete the ones that you've already put into the mastered area, or, you know what I mean? That's that next question is how do I now make it functional in my pocket?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, and some best practices too, honestly, because if you think about it, if I can access them from my computer, from my phone, from iCloud, the sync side of it, what is the best practice for having, as you say, the cream rise to the top, right? Favoriting and keeping the ones that you want where you want to keep them, and managing from what zone. Am I managing now from my Apple iPhone, or am I managing from a desktop somewhere?
Well, with the system we've defined that you're already using, right, your legacy system, you can't manage it from just one place and have it be in both. That's what you forcing the issue has done for you is that if you want to manage it, like if you want to be able to find your favorites, the cream rise to the top on the computer and on the phone, you're going to have to manage them both separately.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Unless if you, on the Windows machine, if you can go into the iCloud photo folder and there's a favorites area there and you can say, these are my favorites, I'm going to put them in a favorite area over here too, it won't be so hard. But when you go into the DMIC folder and go into those little subfolders and there's no tags for favorites because you are in the file structure and not looking at it through something that can interpret the database index, right? That's where you're breaking the system in a way where you can't use the mechanisms that Apple provides for you in the Windows world because you're thwarting, you're going around.
I've just bypassed my own convenience, haven't I?
to a certain degree. And also, I like I've already said, I need to do some more research. I don't know what that iCloud photo folder, once you go in there, I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, do you see favorites? Do you see albums? Do you see... I don't know
got
what
a
you
little
see.
ways in. I'm not there anymore, but what I saw at a glance was an uploads and a downloads button or folder or something. It didn't look like a standard folder on a PC.
Okay.
So that's what's kind of weird about it. And of course, then I got a little bit freaked out as we were talking and I backed out of there.
And I think that's probably the smartest thing you've said all day.
Oh, you know, I'm here. I'm learning.
No, you're doing really good. Honestly, I mean, I praise you every time we talk. I'm teasing you today because this is crazy. A crazy topic.
It is. And it's totally apples to oranges, like you've said. And I get that. So it's awesome to kind of experience that part of the conversation.
Well, this is, again, every time we get to this point, this is the epitome of the switcher. Right? This is Android to Apple, but we're kind of reverse engineering Apple back to PC. And I've even said, we got the Android concept out of this equation because we're not dealing with an Android phone here at all. We are dealing with an iPhone and a Windows laptop.
Yeah.
And the cloud.
Yeah.
Right? And so this isn't even the original topic of how do I get off my Android and onto my iPhone. This is, how do I now live with this?
Right. But
it is part of the switcher. It's part of being a switcher. It's a part of getting switched over, you know, but this isn't Android to iPhone. This is now how do I live in a multi-platform universe?
Yeah, but it also
you
does
somehow want a DC hero to fight a Marvel villain.
What?
I'm going to use terms you understand. I'm trying to use terminology that.
Oh, it's perfect.
And is the Abomination a villain or a hero, or we don't know?
Yeah, that is a little
She-Hulk, because he's working with Wong, and She-Hulk doesn't know what's going on, and she was in prison, and he got out, and it's hard to tell who's a villain these days.
Dave?
What?
Or Kevin? It was Kevin. the robot that was controlling.
Oh, right. The one who tells all the stories, who defines what's
recalculating. I'm recalculating how to get back to Apple Universe. Recalculating.
Well, that's a Kevin Feige joke, right? You had to think of who that was. That's actually the head of Marvel, Kevin Feige.
Oh my gosh!
However you pronounce
that
his name.
Really?
Yeah, that's what that joke was. Is that
oh
the head producer of all Marvel stuff is Kevin Feige, Feige, I think. And they were just so good that he doesn't really exist. He's just he's an artificial intelligent being. See, now we're in my brother's podcast. Now we're being nerds of a certain vintage and digging deep into some Marvel lore.
Well,
Okay, so let's imagine that we've talked enough about photos. We've gotten ourselves confused, and we'll never get out of this maze kind of thing.
Yeah.
Let me do some research offline and see if I can figure some things out. And at some point, I'll probably even offer to buy you the laptop just to get you out of here. Get you off this topic.
Oh, wow.
That's a joke. I'm not doing that. I am going to give you one more opportunity today to jump onto your little list of questions that we did see for a quick second. They flashed up on the screen. Something about deep fusion, which is way over my head for this.
I don't even know what that is. It was just, what is deep fusion?
No, give me a softball. We've already done hard stuff today. Look at
the question that I want you to research that one too, please. because, like, what does this mean? I'm going in. This was one of those ones that I was, logging into iCloud for the first time and looking over the legal and all, and it was going into lots of different stuff. And I'm like, I have no idea what that is. I've got to log that question for Jamie. So, yeah, so there's a number of things there, but just kind of continuing with the topic of photos, because we've talked about it today already in terms of like trying to get them in the right place. But even still, I would love to kind of have a better understanding of how to work my Photos app on my phone, because it's just very confusing to me.
So just like a Photos 101.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
And I know that you have classes about this. So
did you know what I was going to say? Did you have an idea what I was going to recommend that you consider doing? Okay, so let me do one thing first. Deep Fusion is essentially Apple's version of neural image processing. So it's neural image processing. It's been available now to iPhone users for more than 2 years and is being improved and updated with new phone models, firmware updates, and new processors.
That's big fancy language. Can you translate for me? Neural image processing. This sounds like I've been scanned or put into like the donut,
No. So basically when we're talking about this, we're talking about the fact that the iPhone, 10, 13, 14 has 3 cameras on the back, right? So we've got the wide, the ultra wide, and all that stuff. And now we have night vision or night view, so that we can take low-level pictures in the dark and still get stunning pictures, right? And so there is this, I think it's 15-layer deep architecture that when these cameras take a picture, there's 15 layers of that picture that a neural engine, the neural processor, uses neural image processing to figure out which layer is going to give me the best exposure, which layer's got the right light. It's over my head, honestly. It is high-level tech. When they announce new hardware, they go into it a little bit, and they'll show you some diagrams and talk about how the neural engine works or how the neural image processing works. I push the little shutter button, and then I make great pictures.
Well, I gotta tell you, I've taken a few selfies with friends, and the front-facing camera situation on the iPhone scares me because I see all of my fine lines and wrinkles that I never used to see with my Android, because the Android has this beautification feature that I haven't been able to find on my photos.
No, there's no touch-up. There's no touch-up on the site.
I want the touch-up, please.
Well, then post it to Instagram and then use a filter.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do that.
I don't have to tell you about that. That's an Instagram filter thing, and that's
when I first took a selfie with my iPhone, the camera was so good. I was like, "Who is that?" Right? Like, she's old. She looks so old.
I don't know what to say. You look great. And
it was just one of those surprising moments where I'm like,
touch of reality that you didn't want to have.
The camera is really good on this thing.
It is really good. Even the front facing camera is now, I think it's 8 megapixel, just the selfie camera. And the selfie camera can now do high def video. It can now do like 4K video on the new phones. And that's the front face, not the one that faces away, the one that faces you. Mm-hmm. They realize people are doing TikToks and YouTube videos, and they're using this camera, the selfie camera, for a lot of stuff. So they really jumped in and improved that quite a bit.
Wow. Okay.
Okay, so now let's get back to the question about how do I work the Photos app. Like, that's a quick 5-minute conversation at the end of this episode.
Not. Just give me a few basic hints, because honestly, I'm just feeling
one of the main things to know about Photos, whether it's on the iPhone or the laptops and desktops, is that everything lives in the library. So the library is the master copy of every photo and video that you have. The library is organized chronologically, and that's what there is to know. In the library, you can go from year to month to day to all photos. So for quick navigation or finding things, going up the hierarchy to day, month, or year, and then drilling back down into this month and this day to all photos is the easiest way to go up and down and navigate 10,000 photos by having an idea of the date of the time you took it.
Okay,
so the far left button at the bottom is library.
Okay.
And that is the everything button.
The everything button. Okay, I think that's the one that I've been needing. I kept getting into, except I just wasn't used to the switch between the years versus the all photos. On
Yeah.
an Android, if I were, I guess, in a library zone, it would just be, it would look like the all photos part.
Yeah. Yeah, so they've just given you a navigation to go up and down the hierarchy. And I'll tell you, it used to be a little visually easier. They have made this kind of fancy way of showing you when you go to the month or even the day. It'll highlight 4 or 5 of them, and there'll be a button that says there's 4 more inside of here, and you've got to like get inside of the day somehow, which is really all photos. And so I don't really love the new photos and navigation inside the library. I also, as an expert who's watched it evolve since day one, gets confused when I go in there sometimes.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that it's not just me and just
No, it's not just you, and even us old dogs. I'll call myself that. Old dogs don't love. We don't love to adapt to some of this stuff either, right? Not everything's all peachy, even for us. Like I don't want it to change.
Right.
Okay, moving down along the bottom is the For You area. This is going to be where there are memories, which are like slideshows or gatherings of photos that Apple is recommending to you. This is this trip. This is this day. These are pictures of my daughter over the years. Whatever, it's a memory it has made for me that I can watch in slideshow form with background music. I can also edit that background music.
Whoa,
I can
slow down. Did you just say with background music?
It's a slideshow with music, and in the new operating systems, you can actually like customize what music you want to use for that memory, and it's linked into your Apple Music. So if you're using Apple Music and Apple Music knows what your favorite songs are or what your favorite genres are, it's going to try to veer toward that to put into your memories for you because it knows it will touch your heart.
Where
and you
is
can
that
save
exactly?
memories and have favorite memories so you can get back to them if they're ones you want to keep.
So here's what I'm seeing in this. We're still in the For You section.
We're in
right?
For You.
Okay, For You, I've got featured photos, and then I've got underneath of that shared with you.
Yeah, so that's if anybody's texted you or emailed you a photo or a video, it's going to just show up in the shared with you area.
Okay, and then I've got sharing suggestions, and that is all.
Okay, so sharing suggestions are almost like there's 3 pictures of your daughter Grace. Do you want to share them with her? You don't have a couple things I do. Like I've got shared album activity because I'm using iCloud shared albums. And then there's an activity area of what's been happening in those. But again, you just may not have been using your Photos app in certain ways. And one thing about all Apple stuff is if you don't have any panorama photos, you will not see a panorama folder because there's nothing to put in it yet.
Oh, okay.
Right? If you have not taken any slow-mo videos, you will not have a slow-mo folder because you don't have any slow-mo videos. The minute you take one, it'll be there for you.
Okay, so this section, the For You section, is really adapting to the types of photos I'm taking.
To a certain degree, yeah.
Okay.
To a certain degree. But like featured photos are just things that it thinks you'll like that it wants you to see, right? Memories are gatherings of photos that it thinks you will like that it wants you to see. The rest of it, the shared with me stuff, is stuff that people have sent to you, right? But this whole area is not a you are in control of it all that much area. This is a suggestion or conglomerate of everybody else's stuff coming at you.
Right. Okay. Well, that makes a lot better sense because maybe it's a butt swipe. I don't know, or maybe just learning it and I accidentally clicked on something and I came over here and I'm just like, wait, no, this is not how my photos look. I can't, where do I?
Yeah. Always look along the bottom to see which section you're in because it's going to define your experience in photos. So finally is the albums area, and this is your place to create structures for yourself.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Okay, so you've got the My Albums area, and there is a recent area, but that's the same thing as all photos, pretty much, in chronological order. But here you should have a favorites area, and if you've made any of your own albums, they'll show up here in this My Albums area.
Okay.
But if you go below that, before you start making a bunch of albums, I have shared albums next. So these are albums that I've created that I've shared with other Apple users.
Okay.
And when I put photos into those shared albums, they show up on everybody else's phone automatically.
Oh, that's cool.
Right? So I've got a shared album that's just me and my kids and my wife, and I put photos in there and everybody sees them. But I don't have to text them or call them or anything. I put them in this album. They get a notification. Jamie's added photos to this album. They go into their photos, go into the album, and look at them.
That's cool.
right? That's the quickest, easiest way to share anything out of your photos with other Apple users, and it's spectacular.
And this would be a reason why I become somebody who's peer pressuring somebody else to get an iPhone.
Ah, now, right? Yeah, you have joined the light side. And
Oh, wow.
very quickly, I'm gonna. This last part is again stuff you can take to class and learn, but there is facial recognition so that it'll actually gather pictures of people for you, and you don't have to like tag people or make an album for a person. It will use facial recognition to gather photos of that person for you.
Okay.
The places area is using the GPS on your phone, so every time you take a picture and allow it to use the location services, that geotag, you can go on a map and say, hey, there's all my Hawaii pictures. There's all my Europe pictures. Very, very cool. Below that is media types, videos, selfies, live photos, portraits, panoramas, time-lapse, slow-mo. If you've never taken the one, it's not going to be there. You're not going to see a slow-mo folder unless you take a slow-mo video. But these are smart folders. They are pulling anything that's a video into it, and that's just how it is. If you took it with the selfie camera, it's going to be in the selfie folder. Right?
What's the difference between live photos and animated?
A live photo is an Apple trick where it's almost like an animated GIF, where it's got like a second and a half before and after. And if you tap on it, you'll see the movement within the photo and the sound. So it's like a mini video clip, but it's not video. It's actually a series of images. And you can change the keyframe. So you can actually go in there and see, was there a better keyframe a quarter of a second before or a quarter of a second after? Mm-hmm. An animation is a live video that I have added an animation concept to, like a bounce where it goes to the beginning and back to the end and back to the beginning, or I looped it so it starts looping. So you can, there was a time when we could animate live photos, and that's when animations were created.
Okay. I have one in there and I have no idea why.
Yep. And screenshots, if you do screenshots, they'll pull those into the screenshot area. So that's a quick rundown of the structure. I mean, there's a lot more to know about it.
Okay. That's awesome. And then I imagine you've got some best practices for the search too.
The search is spectacular. The one thing I'm going to say about search is that there's built-in categories now. So you could actually go to search and type in the word dog, and it will find every picture that has a dog in it. And it'll actually ask you, do you want huskies versus terriers versus whatever else?
What?
If you type in tree, it will be, well, do you want Christmas trees or palm trees or elm trees?
I have a picture of my dog in here and I just did that.
Yep.
And it has him under the categories dog and hound dog. And he's not a hound dog, but that's cute.
Well, it's trying. At least it's trying.
It's trying.
But yeah, categories is kind of a new where they actually have recognition of objects inside of photos. And there's also a new recognition smart thing where, like, if you're on a photo and the little information thing has some little sparkles on it, you can tap the eye and it'll actually tell you what kind of plant that is. It will tell you what kind of vegetable that is.
Wow.
So there's a lot more to explore. But where over time, we've crazy more than done it. Every time we talk about photos, it just unpeels and unpeels and unpeels.
Yeah,
but I love it. At the end of this conversation, I don't know, do you feel better or worse?
A little bit of both. I got to be honest. Now
both.
I'm extra sensitive about, where to take this photos with the PC situation. But I'm feeling a lot better about my Photos app. So thank you for that.
So you feel better about photos when you're on the phone, which is really what my goal is, that you're comfortable on the iPhone and you're knowledgeable on the iPhone.
100%. And I mean, you could ask me, how do you feel, the differences between your iPhone Photos app and my old Android Photos app. And this just blows the Android Photos app out of the water. So just in the brief amount of time that you spent on that, I'm just thrilled. So,
okay, good. Because I'm not a hater. Everybody out there, don't be like, well, she just said the Photos app's better than the Android Photos. I didn't have anything to do with it. I didn't prompt that out of her.
That was unsolicited. That was all me, people.
Yep, not being a hater. Okay, well, we'll make a decision on next time if we're going to try to actually get some solutions for you once we do some research. But we may need to cover some other topics first because, wow, it gets deep quick, doesn't it? It really does go like, oh, wow, it's quicksand. You seen those memes? Like when I was a kid, I thought quicksand was going to be a much bigger problem than it actually is as an adult. Mm-hmm. That was good old 70s television.
It's
I am going to say rest in peace to Leslie Jordan. Going to miss that actor very much. It was very sad to hear about that when I first saw it. Of course, I think a lot of people didn't really realize who that was when they saw the name this week the first time. But then Lion Bollock from Call Me Cat put it out, and I was like, no, not that guy, not that actor. This world will not be nearly as funny and sparkly and ridiculous without him here in this world. So Godspeed, sir. With that, I am Jamie and this is Audrey. This has been JMac Fixes Everything. Hope you guys have a good day and we will see you next time.
Bye.